Sunday performances. And then I'm going to do a bigger package that they'll run Monday, and of course you'll be gone by then. But if there's anything else you want to plug, we can put it in that Monday one. And we will say, you know, that you were in town for the Dallas Symphony. But they'll run something Saturday to plug the performances.
Great.
Looks good.
Looks good?
Looks good.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. You're ready. Okay. I have to say welcome home.
Thank you. It's always so good to get back home, you know. I go looking for the barbecue and the Mexican food. That's the first thing I do when I hit Dallas. It's great.
Now, you were born in Fort Worth, right?
I was born in Wichita Falls, but I don't remember it because right shortly thereafter we moved to Houston. So I consider Houston my home, but Wichita Falls is my birthplace. And then, of course, you know, Dallas is my professional home because this is where I got my equity card and my first job out at the summer musicals. And so, you know, it's like a triumph. And then my sister lives in Fort Worth. So, you know, we've got the state covered.
Well, when they talk about a tall Texan, you've got to be about the tallest of the tall Texans.
Yeah, I guess I am, kind of. I'm certainly the tallest dancing man.
Has that ever prohibited you from getting jobs, being as tall as you are?
Well, first of all, Bob, you got to remember, I danced before I got this tall, so I didn't realize that I was so tall. You know, you don't know when you're this tall. I know everybody looking at me go, oh, wow, that's some tall dude, but I don't realize it till I bump my head on the doorway or something. So it's, thank God, I learned to dance before I got so gangly, so I have some, you know, control of this rather elongated frame. But, well, I don't know. You know, my first day in New York, I went to an audition. My dream was to dance in the chorus of a Broadway show. And I went to audition my first day in New York, and I got the job. So I think I may have lost some jobs because, I mean, he's just too tall. But I think I got jobs because of it, too. The good part is that if you're sitting way in the back of the audience, you can see me, you know.
And you are officially how tall?
5'18" and a half.
And everybody does their own math.
Do the math.
And I see your sense of humor is as sharp as ever.
Well, laughter is the balm of the gods, isn't it? I mean, you know, you gotta find the humor in the stuff.
Absolutely.
There's so much going on in the world. You just have to find what's funny and attach yourself to that. Keep it going.
Let's talk about this show that you're doing with the Dallas Symphony Pops, because I have not seen you do this kind of show before.
Yeah.
So what are the special considerations for this show?
Well, we try to choose the very best music that is the most universal. So we're doing Irving Berlin, Cole Porter, the Gershwins. I do a Carole King number. We do a Beatles number, Harold Arlen. But mostly songs that were written before I was born, because those are the songs, you know, that they were playing around the Tune household when Mom and Dad would be dancing through the kitchen. So that's the music that I heard at a very early age, and I've held on to it. It's timeless, you know. It's the golden age of American popular music.
And how many people are in this show?
Well, I work with a group called the Manhattan Rhythm Kings. They're 3 guys that play instruments and sing beautiful close harmony and tap dance. So I've worked with them for 20 years. I found them on Broadway, not in a theater, on the street. They were street entertainers, buskers, and they worked right there by the Winter Garden Theater. And I came out of the subway one day, and there they were, and they had drawn such a crowd, and they were so talented. So I left them my card, you know, in their hat. Everybody else was putting money, and I put my card in and said, "Call me." And they did, and we hooked up, and we've been performing together. We've performed all over the world, in London and Paris and Rome and Monte Carlo and Russia. We're in St. Petersburg and Moscow. We've just been all over the world together. McAllen.
How many symphonies have you worked with?
Oh my gosh, so many, so many. I don't know how many, Bobbie. So many. We've
So
played
you've
with.
been doing the symphony thing for a while.
Yeah, yeah. But the show is always evolving and changing. We have a lot of new material. I've played with the symphony once here, but it was quite a while ago. So the show's very, very different. We're always working on it. And you can imagine, we've been together 20 years. We have this gigantic repertoire. So we try to put a show together, for each city that we play that's more specific than just doing an act. It has something personal, for the city.
Where do you keep all your awards? 9 Tonys to begin with.
Well, I have a hallway in my apartment that my designer made at this glass case that's built into the wall. It doesn't stick out. So you're just walking from one room to the next room, and there's this wall, but behind the glass, they're all there, and they have lights on them. And it's kind of embarrassing, but people like to look at them. On rainy days, maybe I'll pass by and glance. I mean, because I didn't do it for awards. I did it because I had to do it. If I didn't sing and dance and entertain, I'd implode. I was just doing what comes naturally.
Tell me about the newest, I guess it's the newest honor, this Medal of the Arts.
Oh, yeah, the
President
National
Bush.
Medal of Arts. Oh, that was such an incredible day. Well, the phone rang, and they said the president of the National Endowment for the Arts wants to speak to you. And I said, what? They said, they won't tell us anything. You have to talk to him. And he said, the president has chosen to give you the National Medal of Arts this year. This was 2004, last year. Happy New Year. And off I went, off I trotted to Washington, and I got to go into the Oval Office. Now, I've been to the White House a lot of times, and I've entertained 4 presidents, but you never get to go to the West Wing. You only watch that on TV. And oh my gosh, the Oval Office is so beautiful, and the art that he has in there is a lot of Texas artists, which, appeal to me because I paint too. I'd love to hang in the Oval Office. Anyway, and the light in the Oval Office is like you've gone to heaven. It's golden. And I couldn't figure it out. Me, the theater guy, I'm looking around going, how do they do this lighting? It bounces off the ceiling. And the President and the First Lady are just so charming and hilarious. I mean, she's very poised and just like a perfect woman. And he's hilarious when he doesn't have all this other stuff on top of his shoulders. He just lets go. He nicknamed me. He calls me Double T. I thought that was really good. I said, I'm going to keep that. I like that.
Double T at 5'18 and a half. There you go. That could be the name of your next book.
Okay. It was a very nice ceremony, very, very personal. I couldn't believe it. It's just such a great honor.
And who all was there?
Just me and them. And Ron Howard also received it. And who else? The ballerina Suzanne Farrell received it, and about 2 more people. I can't remember them right now. It was very, very special, very warm, very quiet, no big deal. You didn't have to make a speech. You didn't have to sing for your supper. It was just a very quiet acknowledgement of my body of work, what I've been doing for the last 65 years. It was really nice to be honored in that quiet way where you don't get embarrassed and you have to go up and make a thank you speech in front of people and forget who you're supposed to be thanking. It wasn't anything like that. It was just like we're talking now. I couldn't believe it. And I didn't feel nervous. I just felt so comfortable.
It's wonderful. It's just great.
Yeah.
But as I read through all the awards that you have, and I thought, where does he put all that stuff? That's why I had to ask that question. Who is your Broadway, or who was your Broadway idol?
Well, I have a lot. I mean, I start with Fred Astaire. He was really how I knew what Broadway was. He had appeared on Broadway long before I was born, but his movies seem to be about Broadway. A lot of the times he would be the star of a Broadway show in the movies, and he and Ginger, you know, like that. So I would say Fred Astaire first and Gene Kelly. And then Michael Bennett, who created A Chorus Line, was like my mentor. He gave me my first job. And so he's very much influential. And Mike Nichols also, who's just this great man. He's like the greatest man I know. And we still remain close. And he's taught me a great deal. I would say those four.
As you look back on the years that you've been really a major star, what are your thoughts about your life and your career?
Well, I guess I don't think back. I'm always sort of thinking about, like, tonight's performance. You know, I'm thinking ahead. Or hopefully just staying in the moment, sitting here talking with you. Yeah, I've been so fortunate, Bobbie. I mean, fortune has truly smiled on me that I got a talent of some kind, and I got to use it and express it and make people happy. And I think that's the blessing. And you know, I don't know. I've done it so long, and I still love doing it. I guess that's also a blessing that I can still do it, because many dancers, you know, they say the retirement age for a professional dancer is 29, and I'm 65. Nobody told me that, so I'm just still doing it.
Well, see, I don't believe in numbers, you know. I just believe in doing the job, you know. Just keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on. That's it.
Yeah,
we got to keep on keeping on.
Okay, just one other question here. How do you view the Broadway scene right now?
I was away in Las Vegas for 2.5 years at the beginning of this the millennium, and I was starring in a great big show, a $90 million production at the MGM Grand, and it was just fabulous. And I did 10 shows a week, 2 shows a night. I never worked harder in my life, and I loved it. And I got back to New York, and it had all changed, and I was like some alien in what I thought was my, you know, my terrain. It was all different. Corporations have sort of taken over producing. Rarely do you have one producer that you can partner with as a director, choreographer, or as a leading player. It's this board, you know, and a decision by a lot of people. And if it's not a corporation, then it is a group of producers that are producing. And it seemed better to me when it was one man like David Merrick. The great producers, Alexander Cohen, they don't really exist anymore. There are groups of people that come together and produce, and so consequently there are different factions. Oh, we think the curtain should go up and the red set should be on. Oh, no, we should go into the theater, there shouldn't be a curtain at all, and then you walk on the stage and the lights happen, you fly in. Everybody has their own idea, and when you were just partnering as a director choreographer with one producer, you'd sit in the room like this and figure it out, and then as it would happen, you would change it so it would get better. It was a real partnership. Now it's changed. That's the way it is. And that's, I guess, to get a show on. When I first got to New York, you could get a Broadway show on for $350,000, and it cost $9 to see it. Now it costs $100 to see, and it costs millions to get a show on. So that's just, I guess, inflation. Hamburgers are more expensive now, too. That has changed it, and then there is this safety net that producers are more inclined to invest in a revival of an old show than to create a new show, and that just is bad for the future, because if we just keep reviving these same old shows, and they're wonderful shows, otherwise we wouldn't be reviving them, but if we don't create new shows now, what are we going to have to revive in the future? Still, we're going to be doing South Pacific. Love South Pacific, but I've seen it. I know how it comes out. I know the ending. Some enchanted evening, and there they are, holding hands under the table. I'm looking for the new, and it's very difficult to convince people that you have an idea because they can't imagine it, and they sit at the board in a boardroom. And if I could tell a musical show, then we wouldn't have to spend all the money to create it and put it on the stage. I could just come in and tell you the show, and everybody would be, oh, that's great, and they'd be happy. But you can't tell a show. It's all what happens off the page and between the notes, and how it all fits together, and how it touches your heart, and how it makes you laugh and gives you that experience of joy and enlightenment. So it's changed, and maybe it will swing around. Things usually do, you know. We get high tech. Oh, also with the microphones, you know, everything's. When I started in New York, when I came up from here to New York, you just planted your feet on the stage and sang out loud. There were no microphones. Ethel Merman didn't use microphones. You belted it out. Now they tell you don't sing so loud because they have the mic on you. And I think that robs the energy. I think, you know, we like that kind of energy, but our ears have become attuned to the systems.
Amplified.
Yeah, amplification. That's another big change. It's all different, but you know, you just roll with it and find your way within it.
And see, the great thing about you, Tommy June, is that you have always taken your wonderful talent and you've been able to channel it here and here and here and here, and that's why you keep going and how you keep going.
Oh.
Because you don't allow yourself to, oh well, there are no Broadway shows, so I'll just give up. You know, if there isn't a niche, make a new one.
Yes, I guess you do. Well, everybody in every field, you have to keep reinventing yourself. There's no such thing as standing still. If you're still, you're losing. You're losing energy. And so the only way is, what did you say? Keep on keeping on.
Exactly. Tommy, I could keep you here all day, but we can't because you have rehearsal and other things to do.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, excuse me. Thank you so much for your time. It's wonderful to see you, and I can't wait to see you on stage tonight.
Thanks, Bobbie. It's always so wonderful to talk to you, and thank you for all the years that I've been coming here and talking to you and all that you do for the arts. It's wonderful. Thank you.
I'm blessed that I can do it. Thanks. Excuse me.
Me too. We wake them up. They don't know what hit them. But I'm so glad I get to do 3 performances. Usually you just come to a city, you do 1. But the Dallas Symphony has such a following that they're doing 3 shows, which is great. It's wonderful. So by the 3rd show, it's going to be. I'm looking forward to each time they get more with it, and it's great. They're always good, but when they own it,
Yes.
it's
Well,
better.
it takes them a while to get
Well,
into
it
the groove of it.
took us 20 years to find it, and we're still finding it. I'm doing a lot of new material tonight.
Okay, you ready? All right.
Oh, I thought we were doing it. Oh, now you're going to ask some questions.
Yeah. Okay. Officially, how tall are you as the tall Texan?
I'm pretty damn tall. I say 5'18" and a half.
And they can do their own math.
Do the math, yes.
Where did you find this group you're working with?
On Broadway, not in a theater, on the street. They were street and buskers, you know.
That's good. That's good. Okay. What kind of a program do you present with the symphony?
Well, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of Gershwin, Irving Berlin, Cole Porter. I'm doing a Carole King song.
Okay. All right. Did you find that you ever lost jobs because you were too tall?
Yes.
When you were starting out, what did you most want for your career?
I wanted to dance in the chorus of a Broadway show. I didn't know that chorus boys looked like this. I didn't know that.
That's good. For openers, you have 9 Tony Awards, and the list goes on and on from there. Where do you keep all those?
Chained to my jacuzzi. Because I
You want me to repeat that?
Yes,
Okay.
please, I'm sorry. That was such a good answer. Oh, it's really.
That's all right, we can edit that in, or you can say it again. For openers, you have 9 Tony Awards, and the list goes on and on from there. Where do you keep all those awards?
Chained to my jacuzzi because I want to keep my Tonys home permanent. Nobody will get that joke. Yeah, that's a generational joke.
I get it.
I know.
We're the same generation.
I know.
Okay. I lost my train of thought.
Well, I hope so. That's my whole idea.
How do you view the New York theater situation?
Carefully. I see everything. I see everything. It's changed. It really has.
Okay. Okay. Oh, yes. I think your most recent award has been the National Medal of Arts. Tell me about that.
I already did, Bobbie, and I'm not saying it again. Yeah, it's fabulous, and it was. It really was.
Okay. Now I'm going to do that a different way.
Okay.
Depending on how it's written. Okay. President Bush gave you the National Medal of the Arts. How did that come about?
Well, let's see. How did it start? The National Endowment for the Arts president called and said the president wanted to give me this award. It's such an honor. Okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I think that'll cover us. I think so. Is there anything else you want to have a chance to say?
Nope.
No. How far in advance are you booked now? You said you're going to Australia and Hong Kong. And
Yeah, it goes quite a way. It goes
through the year.
Yeah, I would say.
And
I
you'll
would
be
say.
traveling throughout
Yeah,
the world.
yeah.
Yeah.
I get a little break after Hong Kong. I get back to New York. I have a Valentine's concert in New York, and then I think we head out again in March.
Okay.
But I can't remember it. It's all written
down. No, but
down.
I mean, you're just working
Yeah.
constantly. Yeah. Okay. All right. Did you know Betty Buckley's living back in?
Yes.
Yeah.
How's that going for her?
And she's into cutting horses like you wouldn't believe. She has 3 cutting horses. And
Wow.
if you've priced cutting horses recently, you know they don't come cheap.
Yeah.
And she's competing